Hey everybody, it's the Collecting the King show, and this is episode 51. And today my special guest is Joe Tunzi. How's it going, Joe?
It's going good, and it's great to be back with you.
Good. You're looking good. I like the shirt.
You can't miss me, man. You can't miss me.
That's right.
If I'm walking down the street, nobody's going to hit me.
Yeah, and all the white too. I mean, you're like a light bulb. He has a new book that's coming out. It is called The Definitive Vinyl Artwork of Elvis Presley, Volume 2, The Back Covers, 1956 to 1977. Couldn't you have shortened that somehow? That's a long title, man.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. But I mean, how else can you describe it, right?
Yeah, the only way you can do it, I mean, you can, the DVA book, and now you can't do that. It's got to be the definitive vinyl artwork. And we did the first volume with the same title, so naturally,
right? You got to follow it up, right? So Joe's here to talk about this book, which is cool, and a couple things I wanted to talk about. First of all, some people have watched the show and did not know who Joe was. Did you know that?
Oh, I'm sure.
Some of the viewers were not exactly sure who you were. And I thought that was a big surprise because I've known you for how many years? Close to maybe 45, maybe?
Yes.
For 45 years? A pretty
long time.
Long time. Well, what I wanted to do for the sake of the viewers was I took this off the internet. It's a little description of who you are.
Okay.
All right. And this will describe you perfectly, better than I could. Joseph A. Tunzi is widely acknowledged as one of the most reputable authorities on Elvis Presley recordings. Photographs from his own photo agency have appeared in the liner notes to numerous audio releases by BMG RCA, as well as magazines such as Time, People, and TV Guide. His photos have appeared in numerous books by other authors, the Larry King live television program, the 1998 Country Music Awards telecast, as well as the 1997 television commercial for Blockbuster Video. Joe publishes his own books through his company at JAT Publishing, JAT Productions. Not bad, huh?
No, that sums it up to some degree, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I read that and I said, wow, I'm impressed.
That's good. That's in a nutshell that would suffice.
I just want to make sure everybody knew all the accomplishments, all the things that has happened through your career. I mean, you've done a lot of stuff in the Elvis world. I mean, that's why I think anybody in the Elvis world who's been around for as long as we have know who you are and have seen your books. And of course, you've been on the show before, so we've talked about different odds and ends of things. And you've got a great knowledge of Elvis, and I appreciate that as a collector.
I appreciate that.
You're more of a historian in a way but you are a collector too. It is called The Definitive Vinyl Artwork of Elvis Presley, Volume 2, The Back Covers, 1956 to 1977. This book is a follow-up to the Definitive Vinyl Artwork, which focused on all front cover artwork and photographs that were a part of 45 RPM singles, extended plays, and long play albums. The new volume takes you on a journey of those same albums, focusing this time on back cover artwork. Also included are some alternate back covers that were never used and much more. How did you originally come up with the idea for both volumes of the book?
I found it fascinating to try to find, as a researcher, every photo that graced the covers of the albums, the 45s and the EPs. Because a lot of those pictures were cropped, and a lot of those photos, of course, airbrushed here and there on the cover. And I had this fascination that I wanted to see what these images would look like, without any touch-up, and to find the original photograph in all its glory. Because a lot of the pictures were doctored, and I thought that it would be just amazing to have a complete collection of 45s and EPs and albums with the original photo that was used. And I said to myself, and I looked at my archives, and I was buying photos here and there and everywhere, and researching different, agencies, photo agencies, finding this, finding that. And I started noticing that I am really getting close to almost having at least 50 or 60 of these pictures.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there was a long way to go yet. And it took me 28 years, okay, to find what I consider all the pictures that are out there. There are some that we didn't find that are still eluding me, but hopefully maybe down the road, like in the second volume of this, we added some of the pictures that we didn't find.
Right.
And I think we're down to, between the back covers and the front, I think we're down to about 20, 25 images in total that we're missing from every 45 on the front and back, every EP front and back, every LP front and back. And that's pretty good. And I thought if we could get volume 1 to be successful, then I can follow it up with a volume 2.
Okay.
And that's what happened. Volume 1 sold out. This is almost gone. Matter of fact, if people are interested, this is almost gone. They can go to the website and still have some copies with the pocket calendar. They can go to the website and order it. But this is selling actually faster than the first volume.
And the website is?
www.jatpublishing.com.
It's amazing, and I'm sure you were amazed too, weren't you, when Follow That Dream, when they started doing the albums, they were coming up with, you know, the photo shoots. Because Elvis apparently, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, or tell me what you think based on your research, Elvis did photo shoots for the album covers of just about every album there was, right? And he would do various poses, because that would explain why Follow That Dream was able to put out, say, California Holiday with an alternate picture, or the new Harem Scarum with an alternate picture, because they had access to all of these photos, right?
It's twofold, though. The photo shoots for some of the albums in the 60s were mainly due to the fact that, you know, there was movies involved. So a lot of that, one hand washed the other.
Okay, right.
They were able to get Elvis to do publicity photos for the movies, and also Colonel Parker had in mind, hey, I got to use one of these photos for the album. So in a sense, you're 100% right that there was photo shoots with the intent of coming up with a cover for an album.
Yeah, because a lot of the fans, we never, you know, when Follow That Dream started putting out their material, it was like we were just mesmerized with the pictures that they came up, because we had never seen them. Now, you probably saw many of these before.
I think I probably gave them to Follow That Dream.
I was going to say, aren't you accredited on a lot of the Follow That Dream releases for photos?
There's several contributors that would be giving Follow That Dream photos to use. I happen to be one of them, and I think for the most part, if you look at all the Follow That Dream over all the years, I've been blessed by Roger Seaman, who has done a fabulous job with the artwork. He would request, I would try to deliver, basically, and whatever he would think is suitable to use, he will use.
Now, do you know, is Roger still alive?
Oh, yeah.
With all of the changes that Follow That Dream has been making, you know, and a lot of you who watch the show know that one of mine and Johnny B's main complaints about the new Follow That Dream LP releases is they gave up using RCA covers. Now they're putting the lightning bolt logo up in the corner, and Nipper, poor little Nipper, is gone. They got rid of him. It's almost like Roger at some point must have decided, let's make it for the European market. I don't know what happened. And John and I kept speculating. Maybe he's deceased, and now Ernst has taken over, and, you know, because it just wasn't the original plan that he told us.
He is actually the forerunner of everything that we have on the FTD label and on Sony Legacy. I mean, he was friends with a person that I was friends with, Joan Deary. Roger goes back with her in 78 and 79 after Elvis died. So, and they were friends. Joan used to tell me that they would license to England. Roger was the first one to actually get alternate outtakes from the vault from New York. So Roger was a very influential and I think still is.
Didn't she have a lot to do with the silver box too?
That was her baby.
Yeah, that's to this day, that is one of the best, if not the best box set
it'll be in
RCA ever put out.
If you go on the internet and you see what people, consider their top 5 Elvis releases of all time, that box set, the silver anniversary box set, 25 years, is definitely going to get into the top 5 or 10.
It's funny because the gold box, the follow-up, didn't do as well.
The gold isn't exactly what Joan Deary wanted. The Golden Celebration, the Joan Deary version, got shelved. The guy who was taking her place, a guy named Greg Geller, Joan told me that there was a 76. They were going to go, just like the silver anniversary and the gold, they were going all the way to 76. And Geller said, nope, we're going to stop it at 68. And them two then had a disagreement, internal, and that's when Joan started to part ways a little bit with...
Did she stay with them all the way, or did she actually quit, or...
I think it was a mutual agreement that she would leave.
That they parted ways.
They wanted her kind of gone, and she kind of didn't want to be... I'm going to tell you about Joan Deary. This was a man's business, man's world. The record labels, that was all men. She was a female in a man's world in the record industry. She took over Aloha from Hawaii because Felton, I don't think, was there. She produced it, actually. Colonel Parker and her had a good relationship, and she followed Colonel's notes to the T. But she, as a woman in that business, deserves accolades for her Elvis contributions. When she put out an album, it's going to be a cut of a song that deserves to be on an album. It's just not going to be, well, you want to hear everything that Elvis ever did.
Yeah, like FTD is doing now.
In a way that serves a purpose too. But back in her day, that wouldn't have happened because she would want a compilation that would be a record. And why she didn't win a Grammy for the Elvis Aaron box set, the 25th anniversary, if you didn't win for that box, at that time, 25 years, Elvis on RCA, and you don't win a Grammy, there's something wrong somewhere.
Okay, so getting back to the book, how are you able to come up with these original photos that you used for the book? I'm not wanting you to divulge any secrets or private information, but how do you actually come up with these pictures? Because some of them, like I said, were like kind of exclusive to RCA or the movie companies or whatever. So how were you able to come up with some of them?
You got to follow the roadmap. You got to look in, and you have to have this visual of where the photo originated from, and if it was a 20th Century Fox, or whether it was a Universal, or whether it was Hack Photo that took all those great shots from the second album. That was a photo shoot, I believe, for the album. We do a side profile like that. That I guarantee you probably was they had the album cover in mind.
Okay.
That was a great shoot.
You're talking about the second album.
Yes.
Whereas the first album was just a...
Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
Which was a great,
concert.
Shot from Tampa, Florida, from Robertson and Fresh.
And you know what? I just thought of this. The 1254, you think in the later part of Elvis's career, all the album covers were concerts. It just dawned on me that the first album picture was a concert picture.
You could always go to the Library of Congress, and it takes a lot of work, because if it's copywritten, it will be under the Library of Congress.
So my next question is, how do you think Elvis vinyl collectors can benefit from these two books?
You get a deep appreciation for what I consider a lot of work that went into the covers themselves. The art department was a very sophisticated group of individuals who wanted to produce the best looking artwork that they possibly could for each release. If I was just collecting, and I just started collecting Elvis vinyl, and I was younger and I just got maybe 7 or 8 albums, and I picked up the book, I would be really more inclined to say, man, look at this. I got to find that. Look at that. Look at this. Look at how many pictures they used on the back of this. I got to get this.
When I was younger, I just bought Elvis records when they came out. So I didn't, collecting was not even an issue. I just got them to listen to. But when I officially started collecting, it was Paul Lichter's book, The Boy Who Dared to Rock, which got me started because it had pictures.
Yeah.
So that's what prompted me to think, well, I have you on the show today. I wanted to ask you if you thought that would be a great way for a young people, because to get started with pictures, because there, I don't think there's any books out right now that have that kind of accurate documentation of every album or every 45 or EP like The Boy Who Dared to Rock, unless of course you go on eBay and find a copy of that book, which I still say is a great book for starters. But this book, this one and the first volume, I think, are relatable.
I want to just say, I miss Paul. And I want to, I know over the years, people have said things that I don't agree with. And I've known him and knew him when he first started in '71, the Elvis Unique Fan Club. In my opinion, you can say what you want, but that man loved Elvis.
Oh, yeah.
In the beginning, he took it to a different level. People can say what they want, I understand some of their gripes. No, I never had a problem with them.
That's why I brought it up, because that's what I envisioned when I looked at this book in particular. I remember seeing the other book. That's what I thought. Well, this is a nice book to see, what the releases look like or how many releases there were. It may not be 100% accurate to every single release, but still, I mean, a lot of great pictures.
In the book, we mention the Chicken of the Sea sticker.
You and I go back on that. I don't know if you remember that, because you did some very, very serious research on that.
Let me tell you, and then this thread on the message board is going to actually indict Paul Lichter as the man behind the fake sticker.
I know. I've seen that. And I
am here to defend Paul Lichter. I'm sorry, but the truth is the truth. That is totally outrageous. Lichter had nothing to do with it.
You know what? I talked about that sticker. I did a whole show on Aloha from Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I talked about that sticker. And, if you followed Presley-Anna, I think Jerry Osborne was the first to present it. And I talked to him on the phone, and he sent me a photograph of the very first book where he shows the sticker for the very first time.
In color.
And it came with a letter.
The thing about the Chicken of the Sea album, these collectors, they want to have a reason not to buy it. Because you're not going to get one cheap if it's real.
That's a good way to look at it.
They want a reason not to buy. It's fake. $3. It's fake. Why would I spend $3,000 on a fake album?
Yeah, you showed me one years ago.
Oh yeah,
and you showed me all the paperwork and everything to back it up.
Yep.
But it was very similar. My way of thinking. The reason I didn't buy it was pretty much the same way. I mean, I wanted to get it for my collection, and I thought, well, do I really want to pay a lot for it because of the reputation of the sticker?
I sold one, and I think I sold that one. And I sold it to a guy who he says, I'll tell you what, I'll pay you for it, but I want to verify that this is legit.
And I know exactly who that person is.
Okay.
We won't mention his name, but I know who it is. And he does that kind of stuff. If he wants to find out if it's real, he'll hire somebody, a professional.
It cost a couple of $1,000s to do this,
right?
Thing, and it came back, and he did it from the same people that did the Shroud of Turin. So
only he could afford that.
I think he called me up. He said, "Come on and get your money. This thing is, The ink was from '73. The paper was, these guys figured it all out."
Yeah. So getting back to the answer to the question, both of these books are good for first-time collectors, right?
Absolutely.
It's a great picture book and a kind of a great way to get everybody, a new collector affiliated with the Elvis Presley albums and 45s and EPs. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Next question is, tell us about the concept ideas for the Elvis albums that weren't used, that are featured in the book. Because the great thing about the book, folks, is that at the, I think about 3/4 of the way through, there's this awesome section of pictures that, by the way, you showed a few of those pictures
we
the
did.
last time you were here,
Yeah.
but you only had paper
Right.
pictures. Now, I could appreciate them even more because they're in a book and they're crystal clear.
Yes.
But in this section, there's a artwork that was considered for different albums like International Hotel, Elvis in Person, and the Now album. And tell us briefly a little more about that, because I know you elaborated a lot on that on the last show.
Yes. Those are from a guy who worked there. His name was Leo Pass, P-A-S. Great family. His wife was always nice. And during COVID, I had a lot of time, and it made you think. And I said, I'm going to call Leo. And unfortunately, I found out that he passed on, and that his daughter had his complete collection. And he was a saver. He worked for RCA on Elvis. And one of
Now, is he local, Chicago,
no,
or
he was in New York.
New York? Okay.
New York City, and his daughter had all the original artwork, and I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a hefty price, but I thought, you know what? It's an amazing thing, and hopefully one day I will have it where people can see it, displayed.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe at the 50th anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
which is coming up, maybe I'll get in touch with Graceland, which is my idea,
Mm-hmm.
and to have it on display.
Yeah, that'd be great.
For
Yeah.
people to see the work and effort that went in to the artwork.
The ones that really stood out to me, because there are even more in here, was the alternate cover for Aloha from Hawaii.
Right.
It's the picture that was used for FTD's Standing Room Only. First of all, I'll tell you, I don't like that picture. I'm sorry. I think it's out of focus. I think it's, there are much better pictures of Elvis singing in concert than that. But to think that they were actually thinking about putting that in the circle,
Yep.
in that case, I always thought, of course, they should have used a picture from Aloha, but apparently it wasn't logistically worked. It couldn't happen. But I can definitely, I am now in favor of the fact that they did use that other picture, because once I saw this one, I'm like, God, I don't even like that photo. And to think they even considered it, I'm glad they didn't go with it. That's really interesting. This Burning Love,
Yep.
wow, that is really cool. The Burning Love one is interesting because of the fact that they didn't put Burning Love on the cover.
No.
It was just going to be called Elvis Sings Hits from His Movies, Volume 2.
Right.
That's it. But someone probably said, now, wait a minute. Burning Love flew up the charts probably when they were putting this together.
Right.
And then they decided, okay, let's put,
And then
Burning
separate
Love on
ways
there.
would follow.
The same thing with, separate ways. They did the
Now,
same thing.
There's the original garden photo, and that's a great shot that they were going to use for the garden.
That's not bad.
Yep.
It's
Or the
just,
I shouldn't say just the garden. That could have been
Standing room only.
And I'll go back to Joan on this. I asked her about that back in the day. I mean, going back into the maybe 75. I said, what happened to Standing Room Only? And she said to me that their Standing Room Only was the title of the movie, Elvis on Tour.
Elvis on Tour, that's right.
The working title, and that was going to be the movie. So American Trilogy was going to be featured in the movie. And so the album, Standing Room Only, would have been comprised of all of the best live songs that he did. Sort of like That's the Way It Is, only all live.
Okay. All right.
And never...
That makes sense.
Yeah, never did she ever mention that the songs from February that Elvis recorded, the 7 songs, 7 Masters, Big Uncle Love, or the 7 songs that he did were going to be the Standing Room Only album.
Well, it wasn't. Well, then when did they decide that they were going to do Madison Square Garden?
Then that threw it all off, because they decided to do the Garden, which killed the On Tour album, Standing Room Only, and there was never going to be an album with the live masters, according to her.
When Roger was telling us he was going to do Moody Blue on vinyl, I told him, I said, have you ever seen the original cover? You know, Jerry Osborne actually had the original Slick. I would release it the exact way that it was supposed to be released.
That was a bigger picture.
And he never used it.
No.
Following year, I saw him, I said, Roger, why did you not use the original concept for Moody Blue? What's wrong with you?
I know.
You know?
That's I like that cover better.
Yeah, well, it's basically it's the same picture, but it's the full cover is what it is. And, of course, the most interesting thing in here is the fact, folks, that the album Love Letters from Elvis was never going to be called Love Letters from Elvis. No. It was going to be called Festival.
Summer Festival. But Festival was the one that was going to definitely be the cover.
Yeah, because according to the picture, it looks like the artwork for Love Letters from Elvis.
Oh, yes.
And RCA Victor is still above the title.
Parker was, I think, instrumental in that, to change it to Love Letters. I think that's...
And he went back in the studio and recorded it again.
Well, he did it in June. Actually, he did it to hear David Briggs, that David played on the 66 version, and Briggs was at the session in June, and Elvis always loved the way he played it. And naturally, if you go in, when you saw Elvis in concert, he had David play the Love Letters, solo too, on piano. Mm-hmm. And I think what happened during that session, I don't know if Elvis was going to record Love Letters, but I think he wanted to hear how David sounded in 1970.
Mm-hmm. And historically speaking, Elvis didn't re-record too many of his songs. I mean, Blue Suede Shoes, he did a second one for GI Blues. But Love Letters was a re-recording. The one that's on the Love Letters album, the 70s, is not the one that was from the 60s.
No.
But same piano player is what you're saying. Okay, this is a fun question, and some of my viewers are going to get a kick out of the fact that I asked this. But I want you guys to know the reason I'm asking him, Joe, this is because Joe knows a lot about Elvis. He's a big fan. We've known, we're close in age and we have a lot in common, and he's been collecting for years. So this is a collecting question, and it doesn't have to do with your book. Okay. So just give me your opinion, okay? What is your opinion about the recent interest in deep groove and flat label pressings and how it's become an obsession with some collectors?
I think that I would have to say that's obsessive. Mm-hmm. Obsessive behavior in the Elvis world.
Would you even think about going back to see if your NBC TV special is a deep groove versus a flat label, or I mean, would you even take the time? Do you think it's even important in any way, shape, or form?
I don't.
Because we're old school, right? I mean, back then we're just thrilled to get rigid and flex.
I don't think I would even think about that. And if somebody said to me, "Hey, why don't you go back and check and maybe you have a deep groove or a flexi," I would say, okay, but I'm not going to do it now, and I would never do it.
How about that circle in the middle of the label? How many of those do you have? Oh, I don't know. I've got a flat one. You got a flat one? Did it come out the same year? Yes, it came out the same year. Oh, wow. So there's two variations of that release. I've said it on the show before. It's factory. It's just factory. That's it. So they're obsessed with collecting factory pressings. And I've said it before, folks. I'm sorry. You can collect anything you want. God bless you. Have a nice day.
They're running out of things to collect. And to keep enthusiasm and spirit up for what they love to do, collect, they're going to find another niche, to go after. I will say whatever, whatever makes you happy.
Right.
That's all I can say. Whatever makes you happy. I'm not going to say that they're, to me it would be obsessive. To them, the people that do it, more power to you, I guess, if that's what your thing is.
What will be your next project? That's got to be the most obvious question to wrap things up. What's on the agenda for your next project?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question.
I'll bet you are.
Because the next book will be on the concert folios that were issued over the years. And we're going to start from 1955 to 1977. And all the original photography that was in those folios is going to come out in the next volume.
So we're talking about all the tour books, the photos that are in the tour books from the 50s to 77, right?
Yes.
And wasn't it 90% of the tour book photos in the 70s, according to James DeVorn, he was saying 90% of those photos were Ed Banja.
From 73 to 77, that would be Banja. The 72 ones that you would get at the show at the Garden of Chicago, where he's in the Cisco Kid suit, as they call it, that is not Banja. So we're going to credit the right photographers who took the pictures, and we've got almost every one of those pictures. And I have to tell you, they look spectacular. Even the Banja shots that they picked, don't look anywhere near the way the original photo looks. And that book will be hardcover in about the same amount of pages, 238 or whatever it is, 234, and all color. And we start from the 50s, of course, and black and white from the 50s, of course. We've got the Jailhouse Rock, the Love Me Tender folio, Jailhouse Rock one. And I just love it.
Well, that should be pretty interesting because I don't think everybody has seen all of the concert tour books, or
even the little small ones, that we've got them all in the original size.
Now, is that going to be a book kind of like this? Is it going to be
yes.
another hardcover?
It would be exactly the same.
Yeah, because the comments that I've heard so far about this book is everybody's thrilled with the fact that it's a hardcover.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe, you have anything to say to wrap it up?
I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here, and I think everyone will enjoy the show.